Greetings, my fellow meme consumers. I've just seen The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick, and it's often considered to be one of the greatest films of all time, and I would have to agree. It's amazing to me that critics didn't initially get this film, and it still has a 63% on Metacritic, which is, incredible to me. Because this is, like, saying it's a great film just feels like an understatement. Like, it's one of the greatest pieces of art in history, I feel. I know that's a big claim, but walking around from this film, you can't really feel anything else if you're a big fan of film like I am. It's just such an amazing and innovative film. I know a lot of critics said it was slow paced, which was apparently unusual for a horror film. But I could imagine that's the scariest thing about it for me. It's just the slow crawl, the slow building of insanity, and it's just an incredible film. The cinematography and the directing here is just immaculate. It uses Steadicam, and it uses Steadicam fantastic. This is just it's just so appealing to look at. You just want to look at it forever and ever and ever. You just don't want to stop. And it just looks so good. And the film recently, which I know I've mentioned previously on this channel, Killing of a Sacred Deer, replicates that a lot. Interesting to see it being used here in the first place. This was where that technique was invented, just tracking. Well, actually it's not tracking, obviously it's Steadicam, but the same movement of people just walking down a hall, but it's all perfectly still and centered and everything, and it just looks really good. And it also creates this sense of they're smaller than this hotel. This hotel is more powerful than they are, and it's just accomplished through this framing that's used a lot in the film, but it's always used effectively. And there's just so much thought put into this film, which is what you want in a film. You want a film that puts a lot of thought into what it's doing, and this film puts a lot of thought into it. There's just so much going on. It's hard to talk about all of it, really. It's a film you walk away from and you just want to talk about forever, but there's just not enough words, because it's just every moment is just amazing. The only thing I can really think of negative is just the font choice at the beginning was kind of weird, but even the way it just pans up the frame is just so eerie in and of itself that it just kind of counterbalances the weird font choice, that's literally all I can think of is the font choice was weird. The music is amazing. It builds so much suspense in the film. In the scene where I don't remember Shelley Duvall's character's name, but Shelley Duvall finds bruises on Danny. That scene, the music there, it's a very simple technique, and also the way that it just is behind him, it anticipates when it's going to reveal to the front, which is also great. But the way the music just builds and builds and builds throughout the whole film, and it never really stops. Even at the end, you still feel this isn't... It's over in the sense of what we've seen on the screen's over, but it just feels this whole world isn't over. You don't really feel anyone survived what happened here. And there's just such this great atmosphere in the film. And that's what film is an aesthetic experience, and this film gives you that in just a lot. There's a lot of aesthetic pleasure here, and it just gives it to you so much, and it just builds and builds and builds, and it grows as it goes along. There's so much to say. Obviously this film is an A. I'm just gonna start talking about it in case no one's seen this film. I don't want to ruin anything else for them, so I'm just gonna stop it right here. It's an incredible film, and you should see it. Bye, I guess.